So I often talk about the fact that leaving your life's significance, happiness, joy, and results up to your habits is kind of a dangerous thing to do because most of our habits are unconscious. In fact, about 40 to 45, I've heard as much as 52, about half of our behavior is unconscious. They're reactions. It's brilliant that our brain is so efficient. It is trying to constantly figure out, how do I efficiently do things so I have to make the least number of decisions possible and I can just throw it on autopilot. That autopilot typically is not going to lead you to incredible happiness. So I'll say you need to build a routine. The question is, okay, where do the routines fall on my schedule? And should they? In other words, should I put my routines on my calendar when it's already full of meetings? How do I do that? How do I do that in a way that is sustainable? So I have a couple thoughts on this. And first of all, there is no perfect answer. What I know, based on human behavior, is that we need a system. Left to our own devices, we will not end up at our desired destination. We need a system. One of the most pervasive, available, simple systems that we have available to us is our calendar. And that can be, I'd recommend an electronic calendar. I know lots of people, and I'm married to one who actually still uses a paper calendar. Whatever works for you. It doesn't matter. But here's the benefits of putting it on an electronic calendar. Well, for one thing, you can have a recurring meeting. So, for example, I took a group of morning habits or rituals, combined them into one thing, and then I scheduled them on my calendar, made it a recurring meeting 5 days a week, and voila. I don't ever forget to do it. It pops up and reminds me. So as an example, what is that? Well, for me, that is some quiet time, essentially. It's a combination of doing a little reading, prayer, getting quiet, like totally still, just breathe deeply and be still. Hard to do, really. So I only do it for a couple minutes. Then I do a series of affirmations. And for those of you out there who are thinking this is super woo-woo or whatever, I understand. It took me a while to actually accept that I need to do that. Again, I would say try it. And if you want to know more about it, I'll do some videos on that at some point. Because morning ritual is a really interesting example of a powerful habit. But anyway, the affirmations, what I do is I write out 4 statements and I read them aloud to myself. And it'd be really weird if one of you was here hearing me do that. But it's a good habit, promise. And then I identify what are the 5 most important things I want to do for the day. And I just abbreviated that RPQA5, RPQA5, RPQA5. So I have on my calendar a reminder, RPQA5 by 8 a.m. It's on there from 7:30 to 8. It doesn't actually take that long. Typically, it takes maybe 15 minutes. But yeah, it's on my calendar. And you know what? If somebody asks to meet with me and they request a meeting at 7:30 a.m., it's fine. However, if I didn't have it on the calendar and I got up and I immediately got ready and I went to that meeting or a virtual call, as it would be right now, what are the odds that I might forget my RPQA5? Very high, unfortunately, because it got bounced out by something else. So whenever I double book anything on my calendar, I know that thing has got to find a place or it's gone. And so I'll slide the RPQA5 up to 7. I might put it at 6:30. I might push it back and do it at 9. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be super legalistic about exactly when these things are happening. But if you put them on your calendar, they will live. You don't have to remember them. And then when you schedule other things, you can remember to move them. So I hope that's helpful. Things like exercise, things like your one-on-ones with your team members, things like writing thank you notes, even thinking time. We're so busy we won't do thinking time. So I'm just telling you, if it's something that is important, if it's a routine, if it's something you want to develop into a habit, I would strongly encourage you to think about getting it on your calendar. All right? Have a great day. Thanks a lot.